Good evening. I call this meeting of Tewksbury Board of Health to order. It is Thursday, June 26th. The time is 6 p.m. We're meeting at the Town Hall, live streamed via Tewksbury TV. We will start. We're actually going to skip the executive session. This was a last-minute request to postpone, and has been recommended by town council that we reschedule a remote time in the next couple of weeks and close out the appeal. And if it works for everyone, that we will be filing in-house court the appointment of a receiver to oversee the cleanup of the property. This is not something that I believe we have to vote on, but if everyone is in consensus of this matter, then we can move forward.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we will move to the next part of the agenda, which is the approval of the previous, actually, my bad. I apologize. We're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you all. My apologies. That kind of took me off of the schedule. So now we're going to go to the approval of previous minute meetings for May 15th, 2025. Hi. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes from May 15th, 2025?
I make the motion that we approve the minutes.
A second.
All right. A motion has been put forward and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well. Minutes have been approved. Okay. So new business. We're going to have Siobhan. Yes. So Siobhan is our health agent, and she's going to give us a little synopsis on Elise Pierce, who's the regional health agent, with an introduction, and so that we can appoint her as health agent.
Yes. Elise started with us a few weeks ago. She recently earned her Master's of Science in Environmental Health Sciences from UMass Amherst. She did a 4+1 accelerated master's program following her Bachelor's of Science in Public Health. She brings 4 years of research experience in environmental health with a focus on endocrine disrupting chemicals, and she completed her master's thesis on this topic. Over the past year, she served as the lead outreach communications intern with the Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition, where she worked to promote environmental health education and reduce harmful exposures. In her role with us and the coalition with the 4 other towns, Elise will assist with inspections and take the lead in compiling and organizing a centralized library of ready-to-use materials, such as food safety fact sheets, cleaning protocols, and employee health resources to support our field inspectors. She's also going to use translation services to create a library of translated documents. She's scheduled to be here in Tewksbury on Mondays and Fridays. We're excited to have her.
That's exciting. So welcome, Elise. So may I have a motion to appoint Elise as a health agent for the town?
I motion to appoint Elise for health
Second.
agent for the town.
All right, so there's been a motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? I hear none.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Not on that, but I'm just
No,
wondering.
can we just finish this part so that I can, yeah.
Go right ahead, but it
Sorry.
does have to do with a health agent, but, okay.
Well, we just voted, so I just want to make
Well-
sure that it goes through and then you can ask your question.
Oh, okay, okay.
All right, so.
Sorry.
Chair votes aye as well. Motion has passed. Go ahead, George.
No, my only question was that Steve was a health agent. Is that going to be is that one taking his place? Because he basically is in our department head's position right now.
Steve, can you answer for that?
No, the board can appoint as many health agents as you'd like. You could have health agents for special purposes, like we have Ron as our tobacco control specialist, but he's a health agent for this board, so you can have a number of health agents working on behalf of the board.
Thank you, you're doing a good job.
Thank you, and welcome, Elise. Great, so next is a presentation on Health and Wellness Initiative by resident John Lombardo. So I'm gonna have you step up, just state your name, your address, and you can write that all on a piece of paper too, and you can start your
Okay,
presentation.
yeah, my name's John Lombardo. My address is 17 Buckingham Road in Tewksbury, Massachusetts. And the reason it brings me here today is to give a presentation on a health and wellness initiative that I'm taking on just as a private resident. Even though I'm on the Economic Development Committee and Board of Housing, this is just something I'm taking on as a resident, so I'm not representing anybody from those teams. And I actually came to the Board of Health today, which I want to thank you, Chairwoman Melissa, for inviting me, Board of Health for having me here today. Because I do believe that we can really develop our wellness initiatives within the town. I see a really great opportunity for that, and I feel the Board of Health aligns with this mission. And I do see also an opportunity for the committees and boards to work across the different committees to work as a an initiative for all of us. Because on the Economic Development Committee, one thing I realized that very siloed on the different teams. So I thought, hey, this might be, while I'm working on this, a great idea for Open Space Committee, who I spoke with about this initiative already. They love the idea. I spoke with Melissa about it. She liked the idea. So I just see a lot of opportunities for us to kind of work together on something that we haven't, I haven't seen happen, at least on my committee. And I can always go back to them with the idea if you guys are on board with it. But I'll kind of get into what I'm doing. I might just sit down real quick. So one thing I would like to do is develop Tewksbury's identity in health and wellness. I would love to make Tewksbury a ideal place in wellness initiatives because it helps uplift families, strengthen community bonds, and longevity of our senior citizens. And I'll get into how many years that adds to their lives in a second. And I really love to do this by leveraging the unique assets that Tewksbury already has. We have a beautiful state hospital that does research. They host different type of peer support events in there. And they have a chaplain building, which hopefully one day they can open up to the public for us to host events in. Open Space Committee, I spoke with them. They're really building out the trails that we have here. They've been doing great work on it, and they're trying to have landmarks that are there and figuring out a way how they can promote it better within the town. And then I want to look at existing wellness and health businesses that we have out here. So I did look around, and I'll get to that in a second, kind of what we have out here. And then also the social groups that currently exist on Facebook is what I looked at right now. So how can we utilize everything that we have to kind of push what I would love to have as a wellness initiative in town? You go to the next slide. You can go back, yeah. So the reason why I think a healthcare and wellness initiative is important is there is a big trend in Massachusetts and throughout the globe, but Massachusetts is a leader in this, especially I work in pharmaceutical. We have wellness programs within our company. A lot of companies are starting to utilize this more because they see the benefit it has to the employees. And I thought, why not adopt this within our communities for people who aren't working or who don't have access to these resources? And how can we really utilize, let me go back. So, and there's also, like I said, a cultural shift towards this, a work-life balance, mental health awareness, and sustainable living. Increase in life longevity, you kind of see in parallel to that right there. Life longevity, and this came from the National Council of Aging. It adds 18 more years to our senior citizens' lives. It reduces healthcare burdens and social connections and emotional support. Me having a 3-year-old, I would love to get together with other parents throughout the town when just gathering with each other, finding out what events are out there. And as I scan kind of how do we promote events in our town, it's very decentralized. The library is the main part. And if you go to the next page, we do have social media groups which are currently exist, and we can leverage them to help promote events. But we have a Moms and Dads Facebook group, we have a arts cultural group, and I recently created a residents wellness group. And what I hope to do in there is, I've been walking around the different small businesses that offer wellness. It could be the gyms, yoga studios, nutritional shops, to see how I can have them come on this platform, offer discounts, grow awareness of them existing in our town for our residents to see. And then we also have, beautiful Tewksbury Parks and Trails. We can probably utilize those in great ways for wellness programs. We can have outdoor walking and running groups, fitness classes, create wellness trails and educational signage. And I thought educational might be great, looping in the Historical Society. They have a lot of great, but you could probably walk through these trails and maybe even the state hospital, and we can utilize the historical they already have like walkthroughs of the community. How can we leverage that in a way to bring families together? And then partner with schools and the senior centers. The senior center does amazing work as it is. I mean, they're always doing something for them. How can we tie in kind of what they're doing into this initiative as well? And I do believe that the schools, this type of initiative will be great for the school kids to be a part of. I don't know how you guys are with how we can leverage our committees and boards to connect with the school kids, to give them opportunities for experience on working on initiatives that we have. And I thought, hey, if we get this going, we could probably partner with the schools and have kids involved in it. If you go to the next one, and this will be a continuation of existing resources. So I already spoke about the state hospital. I think this will be a longer term goal, but they do have great research that's going on there on alternative medicines that can help with longevity living. And they're really revamping their research programs right now, but they have existing peer support groups and mental health programs that I don't think any of us really know about. They happens in that chapel. So how can we promote that more in our town? We can utilize, we already spoke, but we can also host at some point, if they fix their policies and open up to the public, we can host wellness events there. And the last part is local businesses. We have Strongwater Farm. It's a therapeutic center with the horses that we all know about in town. They partner with the VA healthcare system, and they do a great work with them. So I want to figure out a way of how we could kind of connect these all together to create a total wellness kind of program in town. We have Farmer Dave's right next to it, and all this is centrally located. You have Farmer Dave's right next to it. How can we use Farmer Dave's better in town? Could we have them plant maybe strawberries, and we have strawberry picking out there for the families? And lastly, and the other two things are spas and fitness studios. Can we have yoga events go on out in the fields? Nutritional workshops? And, is there an opportunity at some point to build a holistic center somewhere? And the last part is, other healthy food businesses in town promote, but I really want to do like meditation sessions, partnerships with discounts to local health and wellness organizations. So this will help them too, small businesses, and really get their name out there. And it will kind of leverage us too as having an identity in wellness within town. I mean, we're already doing it in Massachusetts. It's already happening at corporations. We should be thinking about that within the community. You can go to the next slide, please. And some possible results that can come from this. We can create a new health-focused community. We can enhance social engagement. We can connect families together and just total emotional well-being. We can increase longevity of our senior citizen community. We can improve health costs and cost savings. Right now, we all know it's getting expensive out there. It's harder for families to go seek mental health, to get out there, maybe get to the gym because they're tied down in daycare costs or rising property taxes, inflation. It's getting harder for them. So how can we help them out is kind of, and I do think something like this can be a great cause for us to take on. And where I really see the Board of Health coming into play is that we could possibly host, a wellness week, wellness events at some point out in the park somewhere. We can do a whole community thing, kind of share what's out here right now for our community. We can work like I said before, we can work with different boards and committees. Something that I haven't seen in this town. A great opportunity for us to all engage with each other, learn what each other are doing, and how we can possibly push this initiative, and we can connect with our senior citizens, our children, and the families. And I do believe that this aligns with the board mission. You guys are about helping our community in the health area, so that was my thing. So it'd be great to learn what you guys think of this and what you're currently working on. If there's a way I could work with you guys on I can take the lead on this. And I'm just looking for resources, gathering kind of what everyone's doing currently, and trying to see if I can connect us all together to work on, a 2-year initiative.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Any questions from any of the members?
My mind is going fast right now. I don't think I have any questions really, but a few things I just want to say. One is, I love the fact that you work for a pharmaceutical company and you're pulling together such a program, which is, it's exciting for us. Also, all of these, everything you're saying, I've only been here 30 years, but everything you're saying is what we need here. We need it for mental health. We need it for people to get out and engage in other people. And as far as the hospital, I am a trustee, and one of the main objectives was always to bring the town. And we speak of the chapel a lot, and what would be better than to be able to trying to find the funds to redo the chapel, because it could be for weddings, it could be for many gatherings and organizations, because it's beautiful.
Yeah. It is, yeah. I took a tour with the CEO for the Economic Development Committee. But it's beautiful, and it shared kind of everything that's going on there, and they have a ton of space.
Oh.
It's in the heart of our community, and they probably are one of our biggest employers here.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think besides Raytheon, maybe a couple other places,
I agree.
they do a lot of great work, and we don't really know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think it's for people who might be suffering from mental health, that's a perfect location for them to go to. How can we get that out there to our community?
Right. Yeah. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Anyone?
No, it's a lot to take in. So I was like,
No, I think this is great.
I didn't know that there was a chapel on there. I was like, wait, there's a chapel on there?
Well, there's all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff in there.
Yeah, I actually had the opportunity to do so I used to work at the Tewksbury Hospital, and then in like one of the facilities, and I had an opportunity to go around and do like a little
The tour?
a little tour, and it's amazing. A lot of the space that is there. I know, like, so we have so to answer one of your questions, the school committee has, with the Board of Health, like, we have Pam who goes to a wellness committee meeting. That's every quarter.
Okay.
And Pam might be able to speak a little bit more on that. But I was going to the meetings prior, and I know that they're looking for people, and it's an open meeting as well, so you're always welcome to go, and you can also ask to speak too. I think there's a lot of different groups in town, and the thing is, like you had mentioned, we don't collaborate kind of together. It's very mixed and matched. So there's a lot, and I think that's one of your goals that you had mentioned, was to gather everyone together that's doing pretty much the same thing and make it large. And I think that's really great, because I know the health department also, sometimes they run and Siobhan, you can probably, and Steve probably can talk a little bit more about that if you'd like. But I know that they do some things as well. So it's more of working together as a community to get that information out there. So I think, I guess my only question is, how can we as the board support the community outreach? And if it's something that, we can, if everyone is in agreement of something that maybe we can look into and see if that's something that we can do to help support it.
Yeah, I think we can start really small, and it's just saying, yes, this is a good idea and something that we're interested in, and I can kind of run with that, knowing I have a board who would be at some point in favor of having a collaborative meeting that I set up with different groups. Mm-hmm. And because I'm trying to collect information on what everyone is doing. And if you have any information like you just shared, that school wellness committee, and anything else that you have, let me know. I can reach out to them, and I'll maybe even work with Alex, who I think is talking to NCOG. MCOG? Yeah, she has her own little wellness initiative going as well. So everyone's kind of doing something.
Right.
And we can probably set up a meeting and see how we want this to look as we share information. It's a brainstorming meeting. I think that's a good place to start, just really small. Just gathering up what everyone's doing, us getting at a table and trying to figure out could we do this and how would we do it?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate your time and coming in. And I think, yes, definitely the wellness committee is,
Yeah.
Pam, do you know when the next meeting
Yeah,
is?
it's just looking at my notes to see, and I don't see it there, but I'm
Okay.
right home.
They might not be meeting for the summer because it's the summertime.
Yep.
Yeah, I think our next meeting is on.
It might be October. They meet quarterly, but,
That's a good date for me. Yeah.
yeah, so they meet quarterly, so that might be something as well. I know the last time they were looking into doing like a calendar kind of thing with all the events being in there, so I think that's something that we can all kind of work together on, so.
Great.
I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the next meeting's in October.
Okay.
Date.
Great. All right, so thank you, everyone. Next on the agenda, we have the administrative hearing. So we're going to open the administrative hearing for the Brazilian Deli Meta Market, 616 Main Street, who's requesting a variance from Chapter 9 for the exterior gas tank requirement. We have to open it, right? Do we have to? Yes. So do we have a motion to open the administrative hearing? Do
I motion to open the administrative hearing.
we have a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none. Chair votes aye as well. So, Siobhan, would you like to, or Steve? Anyone present?
Yes.
Sure. So we got an application for a variance for the Brazilian Deli Meta Market to go in at 1616 Main. One of the requirements is for them to have an external 1,500 gallon grease tank. So they had applied for a variance to go without that. Me and Leo had visited another one of their stores and seen their operation. They have only an internal grease tank at that site, and with the recommendations that we had reviewed with building, health, and the DPW, I would leave it up to you guys to review the recommendations and approve it if you feel so inclined.
Yes. Are they?
I have a copy if you want anything.
Lisa may have included.
Yes, so it's right here.
Oh,
For,
thank you.
this, actually, no, that's, this is for them, actually. For their variance, the following duties.
So we just have one?
That's for them, yeah, so we have,
Or is it on the back?
is it not in here?
You can pass that one. Have a look.
Oh,
I think some might have it, maybe some.
oh, is
Yeah, I
this
got
one?
one
I
right
can
there.
put it on the board.
Yeah, one here.
Is it this?
I have it.
Yeah, it's this
Yeah,
one.
we- yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's this one.
yeah.
Yeah, it's in here. Okay. Do they come up?
Yes.
Okay. So do we have someone from 616 Main Street? Would you like to come up? And then just state your name, also write your name and your address, please. And I have this for you too.
Have copy here.
So this is.
Yes, I got this copy here as well.
Okay, perfect.
Listen, thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, so my name is Gabriel Gomez. This is Fernando, one of the business owner.
Hi.
And should I just talk our conversation?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, my name is Gabriel. I'm helping them to get their business. Actually, their business going on. For more than that, the building, I'm a GC. I'm working around the area here. as a contractor. And we have requested this variance just because I think actually Mr. Steve should be there on site and notice the way that we work. The amount of grease that we produce is we're not like a restaurant. We don't make food there. We just the amount of grease is not enough. It's true. It's not enough to request that. We're able to prove for the city, at least they were there. They noticed what we're talking during the request, and we just appreciate the time and I appreciate the opportunity to go there. That means a lot for us to leave here and go far away. And that's why I request that. We're not trying to run away from any obligation and take care of the city, public works. We do going to follow everything here. We agree with those. Makes sense, total sense. And I believe that's it. And we are on the side to accomplish everything you guys have requested here if the city is 100% on board on that.
Okay.
And I want to make the point that, so that it's not forgotten on the board at all, but we actually met with
Rafael?
with DPW because we were very concerned about the town sewer lines.
Correct.
And their concerns with grease. But based on the observations that Siobhan and Leo Betancourt, the building commissioner, saw at another location, it sounds like it's mostly slicing of meat and cleaning those utensils so that there's not this type of fat, oil, or grease that you would see in any other type of kitchen. It's strictly just cutting of meat that occurs here. And that's why they had requested the variance, and we put together a list of conditions that staff believe are appropriate for this type of operation, including that there would be testing and reporting back to us for a period of time.
Yeah, I reviewed it.
Quarterly.
I would just say,
I have a lot of questions, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
so they're gonna put in an internal grease trap, and then there's a second grease trap contraption that normally restaurants wouldn't put in because they have the external, but putting in the high velocity second grease trap should meet the same filtration requirements that you would with an internal and an external.
And where is that second?
That one it's inside the establishment, kind of in a box. They have one at a different location in a box that just sits in the, inside in the kitchen.
And those will meet the requirements, like as built, you said?
Yeah. Okay.
How does that box get cleaned, do you know? The one that's inside?
Both of them will be inspected monthly by the owners. So all restaurants have to inspect their grease traps monthly, visually inspect them. And when, it's full and they have to call a company, then the company will come and clean them.
I have a contract already that does this cleaning.
Yeah, usually like once a month, they clean them out.
And you have you said you have a,
Yeah, in the other locations, you have a contractor that does the cleaning.
On a regular basis, so they're
Yes.
okay.
so you'll be using that same?
Yes, same crew, same team.
Okay.
They also, the fats, oil, and greases that they'll be producing won't be the same as like
The other places.
a full restaurant, because they really are only slicing meat, and then everything else they have is prepackaged or packaged off-site.
Okay.
There is no range, there is no cooking on site.
That's what I wanted to ask. So you have no stoves, no microwave,
The
no,
only thing we have is an oven for warm up
One
bread, and the electrical is on gas. So
I'm sorry, what is the oven used for?
warm up, warm the bread. that we
Just for
usually-
bread?
Yes.
So at their other location, they receive frozen
Bread.
Brazilian bread. I don't remember the exact name of
The
it.
French, you call French bread, but it's a Brazilian bread.
Yeah. So they receive it frozen.
As well.
Just bake it off?
They room temp it, and then they just bake it so it's fresh that
Yeah.
day. Yeah. And that was all the same that they had at their other location that we saw, was just the bread oven and then the deli section. Yeah.
It's the Brazilian cheese bread.
Oh, God. Oh, that's.
Brazilian cheese.
Brazilian cheese bread.
So this was all in your packets too. So does anyone have any questions or?
But for Steve, basically, because when not to get too much into history, but from 2014 to 2019, I believe, all the restaurants had to be up to the mandate of the Lowell order, I'm pretty sure. So what I just wanted to ask is, I'm not trying to compare anyone, but we worked as a board with the engineer and came up with 3 options. What I'm basically wondering, is there a difference right now, for instance, to equivocate, I can't come up with the word, but for instance, the Gun and Rod Club hardly uses at all. Would they be in like that?
If that, if it's a full-service type kitchen, then yeah, we would be requiring it of them.
No, I know that.
Yeah, so they would, even if the use is kind of a limited use, we would still be concerned with what's going down the drain.
Correct, that's what, yes.
Yeah, so in this instance, and you said you had worked with the town engineer, who's now the DPW director, so when we sat down and met with Kevin, Kevin likes educating people on things, so I learned a lot about just milk alone or any type of dairy product and the impact that it has on our sewer system is significant, and we're not seeing any of that in what they're doing. I mean, what's going down the drain here is basically cleaning, utensil cleaning type agents and stuff. So it's very different, George, I think, than a kitchen itself.
Well, I'm always in favor of the recommendations from folks that are what I call experts, and I know you folks are, but I just want a little bit of history. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I come from, as you know, I have a restaurant. So I guess I definitely feel that people who don't use it as a full restaurant should not have to have that huge tank put in and all of that. Definitely. I just want to make sure where so many restaurants and churches and places of business had to spend all this money to put the tanks in, that there's a follow-up constantly, that stuff is not brought in slowly and small so that we don't really see it, but yet you end up being very close to the other restaurants. There just has to be something, because even the knives that you're using, that has grease on it. So it's not as much as a full restaurant, I agree. But in a case like that, I think something has to be put in there with a specific chemical that they pre-rinse those knives in before they wash them, because you want to get rid of the grease. If we don't have that second grease trap that everyone else has, there's chemicals that you can pre-soak those knives in, because those do have the grease on it, and they are going to go down the drain. So that's something that I would just suggest.
Yeah, and I would also say, to the point of, bringing in things down the road, maybe being more, in the recommendations are going to be a risk level 4 for the first year, so we'll be in there more often, and they know that if we come in and that they're doing something more than their permit allows, and then they would be reprimanded. Yeah. Okay. There would be consequences at that time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I looked through this extensively, and so this is very detailed, and so I appreciate that. And for the record, and so, yeah, there was the inspections, the risk level that you mentioned, the track records, all of that, that's all in here. Their responsibilities, all of that, how often you guys will be going out, all of that. So I think this is very, very descriptive. So there's no questioning of like what they're supposed to be doing. So yeah. Any questions?
I have a question. So you're just kind of like a little deli, correct? You're talking about slicing the meats. Are we talking about what kind of meats? Because I read, and this is gonna sound silly, but I read like Brazilian, I'm thinking like meat on a stick that they cut that way.
No,
and then
it's not
cheese
rata.
bread, so I was like, hold on a second.
Okay.
That's why I'm like,
No,
what
no.
kind of meat are you
It's
talking about?
not a restaurant. It's not. It's just like
Okay.
we sell. Is red meat as any deli, any butcher shop.
Okay.
But it is different cuts, Brazilian cuts.
Okay,
But we're gonna sell raw. We buy ready, package, came freshly. I believe 2 or 3 days. They always bring new. We don't have too much stock, so as we go, we have easily company that brings new food. We just unpack, put in our freezer, not freezer, in the glass refrigerator.
case, yeah,
yes.
okay.
And, as customer asks, we cut and we sell.
Okay.
They prepare at home.
all right, thanks for the clarification, thank you.
We don't have tables, we don't serve. The space we have, it's a grocery shop as well, so.
Okay.
Any questions?
No questions I have were asked.
Okay. So without that, I would, is there a motion to grant the variance with the 14 conditions that are recommended by the staff?
I make a motion that we approve the variance with the 14th-step
Do we have-
document.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, so a motion has been put forward and seconded to grant the variance with the 14 conditions recommended by the Health Department. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well. You are all set.
Thank you very much, guys.
Gabriel, did you write down your names on that sheet of paper?
Yeah.
All right here? Yes, I will.
Thank you. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Continuing on, we're going to go to old business. So update on body art regulations. I believe Steve has some update.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
After a collaborative effort between the board and staff, I talked with town council this morning, and he said that he has approved them as the form. So what we'll do is we'll put those up on the website with the effective date of when the board originally approved it, so.
Okay.
So there are no more changes, is that
No more
correct?
changes.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
That's great news.
Yes,
Yes, all
Finally.
right.
thank you. I checked that off a few times. So,
No more shared document. Awesome, I'm so happy, thank you. And thank you all for the work that you guys put into that as well, so very much appreciated. Great, so next up is the Health Department report. We have Jimbo's update.
Yes. So I have been in Jimbo's, I think maybe 6 times now. I was in there weekly at first, since you guys last met with them. They have assigned 2 persons in charge, and they've been there every time that I've gone there. So that is good. They both have their Serve Safe Food Protection Manager. And they have shown compliance and improvement. All their chemicals have been labeled, their food protected from contamination in the fridges. They did have a few temperatures on, maybe my 2 inspections ago, they had some temperature violations from equipment, and he went out the next day and purchased a new drop-in sandwich unit deli, so that was great. And the old one went out and the new one went in. They have fixed their sanitizer on the wall, so that has been fixed, the hoses, and there was a lot of signs there. And everybody's clear on the procedure for sanitizing there. And I was out there today, and there were 2 things that they needed to fix, and they got them to me by the end of the day, right before I came up here for this meeting. So I'm definitely happy with where they are. I moved them to bi-weekly inspections, and right now I told them I'd be back in a month, and then from there, we'll probably see.
great.
Any questions?
No, excellent, thank you very much.
Thank you. Again, I cannot say, I think I've told you multiple times that your communication and your work has been very noted, and I appreciate it very, very much. It is, I think I mentioned, it's a breath of fresh air, and I appreciate that very much, and I think you're very thorough. So I'm just going to thank you over and over and over again.
She is doing an outstanding job.
Yes.
As is everybody down in the health department.
Yes.
And we had a couple more updates.
Okay.
One of them is that the town manager and I realized that Maria Ruggiero, who is our prevention program manager, seemed to meld better with the health department. So we have now integrated Maria with the health department. She's working downstairs. She's worked collaboratively with both Siobhan and Ashley on a number of projects over the years. So, she's very much welcome down there, and I think she's very happy right now. She leads the Prevention Partners of Northern Middlesex, which is a collaboration of 8 communities working together on substance abuse. So I don't want to jump into the Tewksbury Cares, but what I'm kind of leaning towards is that we're picking up on prevention through the health department. As Tewksbury Cares is winding down, we're bringing it into the department. The other thing I wanted to bring up was quarterly numbers that the department has been achieving. 18 complaints have been investigated and closed out. Those could be anything from housing complaints to primarily housing complaints, I would say. But there's other things, trash complaint. There's a lot of things that the department does that just doesn't get amplified enough in the public to understand what they do every day. There's that. There's been 8 pool inspections that were completed. I believe Siobhan did those.
Excellent.
And then we had 104 food inspections performed over the last quarter, and that was a combination of Siobhan, and we had consultants as part of the collaborative that we were using, and I think they were extremely helpful in kind of boosting the numbers. But we're going to be working on a program to ensure that we're hitting the restaurants in the risk-based system that we've been operating under. So we'll be trying to keep the board updated on a quarterly basis as to how we're faring on this. And then you had a couple things you wanted to update.
Yes, we had 2 events last week. We had the last day of school event. So since bringing Maria down, the health department and then her organization, Prevention Partners of Northern Middlesex, we did DIY stress balls at the last day of school event at Livingston. I think between us, we made over like 300 stress balls with all the kids, so that was a great event. And then we had the Pride in Our Community event on Friday, which was a great success. We had bouncy houses, dunk tanks that I sat in, and great support from the community. So I think that definitely bringing Maria down will bring a lot of programs that Tewksbury could use. She's definitely done a lot of yoga in the past, things that she's done that I think have been quieter with the PPN partners, that I think will be more well seen now that she's in the health department.
Right.
Did you have anything else? Okay. And then lastly, I just wanted to let the board know that the week of July 7th, I believe it'll be July 9th, that Shannon Gillis will be returning from maternity leave. So Shannon will be back, and we've been rolling with things and looking forward to her coming back and jumping in and enjoying the fun that we're all having.
Thank you.
Yep.
No, great. I love that. How many times were you dunked?
A lot. Over like 40.
Oh, no.
It was a good day.
I had some kids that just kept coming back for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So good. Thank you for that. Any questions from the board members? Anything? Okay. No. Subcommittee reports. Wellness Committee report with Pam.
I brought the minutes of the meeting,
Okay.
and the second paper that's going to be passed around is, they have, the biggest thing the whole board is working on now, if you want each one to take from the list.
Oh,
Should we just take that one?
sorry. I put those back.
Is a wellness program for March 10th of next year. And leading into that, they're going to be doing individual named events each month for the schools, because that's actually being held. at the high school in the large open area downstairs. It was downstairs from where our meeting was. And I wrote down a few of the initiatives. One, they're going to have domestic violence awareness, mental health awareness, drug awareness. All of these things are obviously being looked at from a prevention standpoint and an awareness standpoint. At lunches, at least through the month of March, whether that will continue before and after depends on how many people can reach out to the community. But what they want to have is like a booth set up with a specific game to play with the kids or informational things, something that can be an interactive, whether it's about dental health or better nutrition or whatever it is. They're hoping to engage. This is more on a school level because the wellness committee is sort of tied in more to the schools, of course. But that's their plan is to have everything tied into that March 10th event. So part of the meeting, or most of the meeting actually, was spent on divvying up various groups in town that can be contacted to be part of that event. And that's the second page I put out. That was a draft of an email. I plan to go to the people with whom they asked me to speak in person because I know most of them. And that's pretty much the way they divided up who to speak with. The goal is to get every organization that has any attachment to health or wellness in the town to come to that day and present an interactive thing or something that they just, I think they said that the senior citizens came from a exercise group last time and just put on a demonstration of something that they do. So it doesn't necessarily have to involve interaction with the public who is there. The public will all be invited, of course, through the schools. But that was 90% of what the committee spoke about. So, and I feel like I'm kind of just getting my feet wet there. So I made a lot of notes and have their notes for you all. But really, that's what we're doing. The whole focus is not each month will, for the next school year, they're beginning to make a plan, but that won't be really able to go into effect until November, December, because the plan isn't gelled enough yet. But they do plan to tie it all in, and after the fair, then they plan to have more things that are follow-ons, so that it isn't just a one-time thing and then that's the end of that. But there are ways that people can interact with. If they were really interested in something that happened the day, then they can follow up with it. So that's it. We have one meeting in October, and as you said, meetings are quarterly, so they were fairly lengthy. I don't remember how many people were there, but you can see from the meeting notes.
Great, thank you. Any comments, questions? I hear none. All right, so next will be Tewksbury Cares. So I reached out to Susan Timmons, who is the treasurer, and she actually formally resigned from treasurer. So with that being said, there is $713.78 in the account. So we're thinking, the consensus would be, if everyone consents, would be to eliminate the group and then figure out who the check should be made out to. There was a question of it should be the town of Tewksbury or a chosen place. With that being said, and that, now knowing that Maria Ruggiero is doing this in the health department, I think I would propose those funds get allocated to to continuation on like the health department. I don't know how that would work, but where the check would be made out to. And Steve, feel free to
Yeah,
jump
no.
on in.
I don't have a definitive answer, but most likely the select board has to accept gifts on behalf of the town.
Okay.
So I think what we may want to do is for Tewksbury Cares to present a gift to the select board
Okay.
for the purposes of the health department and some type of prevention program.
Okay. So, if everyone is in agreement, or if there's any questions, I would propose that we move to accept her resignation. I don't think we need to vote on that, but, and close the account with, directing the funds to gift it to the town, the select board to then gift it to a program from the health department.
Yeah, I think all these things coming together, seems like that with Marie coming over, that the
Wellness.
John?
wellness, John coming with the, you being on this, seems like, wow, what's going on? Things are starting to go pretty smooth here.
Everything happens for
I
a
like it.
reason.
Yep.
Yes.
I think that's a good idea, actually, to do that, to kind of like absorb it back in, to
Right.
keep having her keep doing these things. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I mean, we might need money, for instance, for the fluoride initiative.
Well, we got to do something with this guy because our budget, because everybody's always tightening down, but the Board of Health, at least in the 12 years I've been in the town, has not got a dime more than they do the previous year. So we got to do something. Anyways.
Yeah, so I think this is something that we get, I don't know if we should do a motion, but I would assume so, just so that it's on record. So if everyone is in agreement and there's a motion to,
I make a motion that we disband the Tewksbury Cares, accept the resignation from the treasurer, and forward check to the
Gift.
select board, gifting it to the town, and CEOing it to the health department.
okay.
I'll second that.
All right, so a motion has been put forward and seconded to accept the treasurer's resignation, close the account, directing funds to, as a gift to the select board, in order for that to go to the health department programs for wellness.
Yes. Well said.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right?
Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well. So I will get in contact with Susan, ensure that we figure all that out, and work with Steve on that as well to make sure that everything is situated. Perfect. That good? Yes. Okay. Next would be board member reports for the fluoride discussion. So just an update from the two members regarding any updates on people speaking, things like that. I think it would be very beneficial to choose a date and a format if we have speakers to invite. So I'll leave it up to either of you.
Yeah, I reached out to my dentist because he happens to be a spokesperson for the American Dental Association.
Okay.
But he said he's way too busy. However, he did take the initiative to find someone who can actually do it. I don't know if they would be speaking for or against.
Okay.
At this point. The difficulty is he needs a date because,
Correct.
as you can imagine, people who work in that field can be very busy.
Yes.
So if we can work on that, I think that would be very helpful. And if we lose this person, he's a real go-getter. So I'm delighted that he's available to me and I can,
Okay.
reach out that way. I didn't reach out to anybody else, frankly, but
Okay.
Yeah, I reached out to one person from Andover, and they're involved heavily with legal action in fluoride in the states of, I believe it's definitely Florida, but I cannot think of the other state right now. It's Utah. And so they would have to get a date, but I'm pretty sure that they're a no. So, but what I wanted to mention is I really enjoyed the document you sent out to us about how do you cut it in half on one person to do one and the other to do the other.
Yeah.
I'm totally
So,
I really like it, so
so I had sent, just so that you had it and so that you knew that this was coming up, and it was just, I thought about it yesterday. Was basically, recommended speakers to invite would be pro fluoridation and then, opposed fluoridation perspective. And then typically would be, we should schedule it 4 to 6 weeks in advance, knowing that we have people to speak, because if we don't have people to speak on both sides, it kind of defeats the purpose of having a hearing, in my opinion. So I would say, a panel of 3 to 5 people have like 8 minutes or 10 minutes to speak, depending on how many speakers we have, and then having it open. And then ensuring that, we invite people, public notice would be necessary. And then obviously was, possibly logistics of dividing, you two into specifics. So like one is really focusing on getting that information out there. The other one is focusing on the invites. So really up to what, and if anybody has any information or any thoughts to go forward with that, that would be fine too. Just so that, because in June, the Joint Committee of Public Health held hearings for 3 fluoride-related bills. One was to ban artificial water fluoridation statewide. The other one would allow municipalities to opt out of fluoridation, and then the other would require warnings on fluoridated water. So those were all heard on June 11th, from my understanding. Nothing has been moved forward, so it's kind of just kind of working on that. So it's something that may be coming or it may not. So this is why I think it would be really important to have people be informed of what is going on and knowing that, so.
yeah, I'm more than willing to do either one of those 2 options. In fact, I would extend the, if you would prefer one, because I don't have a problem with doing either one.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that you guys can, discuss on the
Yeah, I'll be in-
outside too.
Yeah, I'll be in touch with you, but yeah.
If you want to discuss the 2 of you, because it wouldn't be a violating any open meeting laws, because it's just the 2 of you.
Right.
So if that's something that you guys want to coordinate, and then I think it would be really beneficial to, once you guys coordinate that, maybe do I think for our next meeting, I would like to have a date if we're going to move forward with it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk, but the thing I'm looking at is right here. We should, obviously the date is huge, but I'm looking at it if I was gonna be the person that said, I would be in touch with Steve tomorrow morning and start, whether it's gonna be at the high school gym or wherever, okay?
Okay, so do you want to, so are you suggesting that we format a date right now?
I think we should.
Okay.
I
I
do.
don't think we can get spokespeople without a date.
Okay. Is anyone opposed to that? All right, let's put out some dates. What did I say, 6 to 8 weeks? Do you guys feel like 6 to 8 weeks would be enough time?
Definitely. It also isn't too long in the future where
And we can work on other things while we're doing that, yeah. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th brings us to the week of July 21st, or the 28th, or the first week of August, I would say. It's also summertime, so yeah.
So you have to, the last week of August and the first week of September are extremely busy.
well, that's not good.
So it would be last week of July, first week of August.
What about August 6th? That's a Wednesday.
Are you thinking of a night event?
Yes, it would be a night.
That's not, August. I think it was July. I said,
Yeah, August 6th.
Everybody's on vacation.
And we can do that as a tentative date.
Well,
Well, we would put it as our date, as that's what we're doing,
Right.
but tentative meaning like,
Oh,
if we don't
no.
have people, we don't have things, we, you know.
not for publication, right?
Right, for publication, we wouldn't publicize it until we're actually
Right,
complete.
so that gives us about 1 or 2 weeks really to get our spokespeople, okay? That's good.
Does if,
I can make it work.
okay, so is everyone in agreement to August 6th being our tentative date to get this moving?
I am. The only thing is I just don't know if there's something else that the town's going on that
Yeah.
night. I'm sure there's a committee meeting or something, but yeah, but that would probably be,
This is a Wednesday night?
Yes.
Possibly Conservation Commission, but that, I don't know.
do you have any recommendation on, do you think a weeknight would be positive or negative?
In the middle of the summertime, I don't
Yeah.
think it's really going to matter.
Right?
Yeah, it's tough. Summertime is gonna be, it's summer, so.
So then you don't want to push it off like into mid-September.
I'm open to suggestions and recommendations. I don't want to put anything out there as far as, you know, for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
Right, the only thing then, obviously in September, then you have kids going back to school, but
I think we should just stick with the,
August 6th.
yes,
Okay. Okay, yeah.
because
we
we'll
can-
find a reason for not doing
Right.
it on other dates.
I
Right.
agree. Okay, so, do we have to vote on this? Probably, yes? No? I don't think so. Is everybody in agreement?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
August 6th?
Yeah.
It's on my,
Okay.
it's on my calendar.
Tentative?
Tentative.
Perfect. All right. Great.
Okay,
So
have you got an idea about a time frame for that, Melissa?
Just gonna
Like
say
six?
that.
I would say 6:30, 6 o'clock,
Yeah, people can make 6 or they can't make 6.
6
They can't
p.m.
make the 6th or they can. It's just
Okay.
gonna be what it is.
So that'll be our tentative as soon as we, and so that
I'd
you
like
guys
to,
can start working on
again,
that.
the document you gave us, I like the framework of it, how you said that depending on the amount of people speaking, how much they have.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that was just kind of for you guys to review and see
Well, I
what
think it
you.
might be an interesting idea too, to get someone, if we can, to speak on the bills. Because if they're, just as a for instance, if they banned fluoride in the state, it
that's
has an effect on us.
not,
Correct.
that's not gonna happen
Yeah.
with the Democrats in charge.
Okay,
Strictly,
so,
but-
moving forward, we're gonna do future agenda items, which, is a board work plan, which, I spoke with Steve and it was something that I think is really great to kind of have a work plan. So prioritizing and scheduling of upcoming board items, so yes, that, you know, the public meeting is one, but, like regulatory updates. So I think that is something, now that we have concluded with the body art regulation, we get to move on to more. And so one of the things that have come up is like dogs in outdoor dining areas. So those are just examples. And then some of the things that might be outdated. So I would like to put together, kind of a plan and action of what we want to work on. So what I'll do is, I'll have Lisa share with all of you the regulations that are outdated and that Steve shared as well, but things that are outdated, what we may, and then for next meeting, I would like to put that on the agenda to see, okay, this is what we're gonna work on next, so we can figure out like a date, time plan, and for the next year of what our goals are and what our priorities are.
Well, I worked on the dog thing.
Yes,
I did just in case. I have it ready.
of course you
I'll
did.
hold off.
Madam Chair, I have a question for
Yes.
Steve through you.
Yes.
Any idea if you may hear something from the town council on what I talked about with the dogs? I only say that we might have it for the next, that's the only reason. That's okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't talk to him about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Since we are talking about something to do with dogs, I'd like to Let's just put it down. What it is, there's a couple studies about dogs.
George, speak in the microphone.
Dogs, some things with dogs getting different things like cancer and other things from stuff that is put on their lawn. So I was just looking into some studies, and that's really just want to leave it at that,
Okay.
because I need some counsel from the lawyer, so we'll either quickly, remove it or talk about it.
For next.
Yes.
Next one, okay.
Correct.
So, yeah, and if, obviously, like, what I've mentioned before is I want this to be like open door kind of thing, obviously, but with any information or things that you want to bring forward with the extent of, okay, what is the outcome that you're looking for? What is the proposal or whatnot, so that we can make sure that everything is in line with what we can and cannot do as far as a board. So yeah, so I think that we'll put that in plan for the next agenda so that you're all aware, so we know of prioritizing and scheduling the next items for the year ahead. Any other questions, comments, concerns, outbreaks?
So I take it the dogs and outdoor dining will be pushed to the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll prioritize if that's what we want to work on right now, like right next, or yeah, unless you want to.
No, it's here.
Okay.
I mean, it's here. This is the time, so I don't, if you want to wait till the next meeting, we can, but we can discuss it now. It's up to you.
Just out of curiosity, Susan, you said you've prepared something?
Yes.
So, I mean, one, it's not on the agenda to specifically talk about that. That's one way of looking at this.
Right.
That doesn't mean you can't talk about it.
Right.
It's when we put the agenda out, it's what we know at the time.
Right.
What the chair knows at the time. So it could be discussed, but nobody else has had an opportunity to see it. So
Right.
it's just something to think about. And if it's something that you really want to have on the next agenda, then
Yeah.
you should talk with the chair and it could go on the agenda for the next meeting.
That's fine.
Cool. All right. So, if there is no further business, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Go ahead, George.
I make I'll second that.
Okay, motion and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Chair votes aye as well. This meeting is adjourned at 7:07. Our next meeting is Thursday, July 17th at 6 PM. Good night, Tewksbury, and thank you for your time.